allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. We thank you for giving us the honor of serving this wonderful community, and we ask that you bless all of its citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's call to order the April 16, 2019 meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Council members have had an opportunity to read the minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either amend or approve the minutes as read.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from our previous meeting.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Under new business, under new old business. Mindy Taylor Block Party, June 8th, 2019. We had approved the closing of the streets, but at the time you were really early. We did that like in August, didn't we?
Well, we wanted to do that so we could be put on the calendar, like Warren County Visitors Bureau and the different 2019 calendars for the year.
But I think it was asked of you to come back maybe 6 weeks out to give us the updates and remind everyone.
We met the police and fire and parks department. We all met on April the 2nd, and we went through changes on the map. We made changes to the vendor forms, which are in front of you. This is the map from last year, and that's how we have all of it set up, and we assign the booths. This year, we're only going to use the mural part for overflow, because a lot of the vendors felt like they were tucked away back there. The kids zone from last year that was in Citizens Bank parking lot, that's now going to be out on West Main. So more people see it, they know it's out there. It was determined that the street department and the park department will assist with the barricades. The parks department will put up the no parking signs the Monday prior. They will also assist with the restrooms. Ray's Trash is going to provide the cardboard trash boxes and a roll-off if needed. We talked about that if it's going to be pretty hot, the chamber will provide cooling units. We rented them a couple of years ago, and we could do that again. The fire department will do the first aid station again, and the police will provide 2 officers. And police did ask me to meet with Hallie from 5 East, and she's pretty much been gone since we met, and we are meeting on the 26th. So I'll give her your number like you asked me to do. Is there any questions?
What's the name of the band?
Tastes like chicken. And I have not looked them up yet, but I hear great things about them. So on a side note too, I left every one of you a golf outing. It's our 25th golf classic this year. So make sure you sign a team up for that. And I want to thank Tom for him and his wife coming out. They took care of all of Samuel Moore Parkway for the cleanup day on Saturday, which we had over 60 volunteers. So
Who do you think did the most work in that project?
you. No one else had a trash bag on one side and a weed eater on the other.
I think she did also.
Yeah, your team.
I think we were both dragging it.
Oh, was there any other questions or?
No.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Adam Britton. I think it's misspelled here. You mind if I give just a little history on this?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Adam had called in last week and asked to be put on the agenda. That he was kind enough to leave a contact number. And I called him and we discussed what was on his mind. One of the things that he brought up was through an error, I think, he was issued a warning citation for parking on the incorrect side of the street. It referenced an ordinance from 1982. And what that ordinance said was there is no parking on the south side of Sweetwood. But where he looked it up, our Laserfish kind of blurs that page out. And he didn't catch from the point that it's talking about from the intersection of Sweetwood and Indianapolis Road.
30 feet west.
30 feet. So, to his credit, even though there were signs on the north side, he's issued a warning ticket that says can't park on the south side, so he parked on the north side. And then he was issued a ticket. And that goes back to our ordinance 10 of 1977. Now, I think as a council, we're faced with the dilemma of many small towns, well, large towns too. We see where we have ordinances that horses can't be tied on Sunday or something like that. I'm exaggerating it a little bit. But in speaking to Mel, what can be done in that case is there are companies that will codify? Yes. Codify all of our ordinances, go through, look at where they are. Now, in the years that I've been on the council, I think this is the first time that this has kind of been brought up. I think what we need to do is maybe look into how much it would cost versus how much it has cost us or how much of an inconvenience it has been in the past, which obviously it's an inconvenience to have. Also during that conversation, the question came up, and I will say that I overstepped my bounds. He said, I'm going to fight this because of this here. And he said, I'm going to mail my ticket today saying I'm going to fight it. I said, well, bring it to the meeting. So I kind of overstepped my bounds. I should have said, do what you want to, and I apologize for that. But I mean, there's nothing this council can do on the ticket itself. That's why we have the local court. But so I apologize if I overstepped there. In that course of that conversation, he questioned why we had a no parking in some of these areas and the whole ordinance 2000 or 1977. I think, was that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to him now.
So talking back and forth with Tom, I kind of cleared most of the questions that I had up. The only thing that I want to say is you guys should probably look at your parking as a whole. I mean, that neighborhood is 69 years old or so.
The new edition.
The new edition, yeah. That was, back then it was real common to have one vehicle. Now, I have 3 vehicles. As the older generation moves out of there, and newer generations come in, there's now going to be parking, or there will be parking issues. If you took and buy the entire north side of the road and parked everyone's vehicle on the south, eventually you're going to run out of space for each vehicle. Now I measured between my roads, and with 2 vehicles on either side of the north and the south, you're still looking at 14 feet, or 14.7 feet of clearance for egress for emergency vehicles. So that's kind of all I've got on that portion. I mean, I don't think anything emergency has to happen. I just see the problem, and I see that it's not going to get better unless you start looking at it now and say, in 10 years, here's our solution. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up was the Laserfish. That stuff is incredibly hard to navigate. I mean, it's bad. But other than that, that's about all I've got.
I will credit several of our council members here on how hard they have worked on our website.
I'm absolutely.
It's a far cry better than what it is, and the Laserfish is a third party that we use.
And it's a massive amount of data to try and access. I get it. it's still not a very smooth transition.
Well, I think that's something that we can maybe reach out to Laserfish and talk to them and see if there's upgrades or there's plans to upgrade or something like that. It takes the community to reach out and say, hey, this is what we've done. We've had very positive comments on our website as a whole. But it's just when we slide that off to someone else. I think you and I discussed the two vehicles and everything like that, and I think before we would do anything, we would have to bring in maybe our law enforcement and our fire department and our ambulance service, a second fire department. But I know that this part here, I understand now, and I was a little angered at first because I thought, what are we doing? But I see where it was just a mistake, I think, as far as that one ordinance being.
And that portion doesn't really bother me. It was when I looked it up and I couldn't see, I think it's section 2 of the ordinance from 82.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see that at all. It's just nothing. And then you go down to the 18 and all it says is no parking on the south right of way, according to your website. Or according to Laserfish, I should say.
We will try that. Are there questions, Adam? Comments?
First I've heard of it, so I really can't comment a whole lot.
Okay, well, we're going to move forward with what we've done here, and like I said, I apologize for overstepping, getting on the land on that one, but I think proceeding and with the explanation, I think that'll go a long way.
Good. I appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
I may have made a mistake here. Again.
Oh, you made him mad, Tom.
Do what?
I said you made somebody mad.
Wasn't my wife. Oh, no, she's still there. Okay, next item on the agenda is just I want to give you a quick update. These kind of got in a funky order here. We did meet Dustin and Dustin and I met with Julie from our Department of Public Works and a nice lady from Chicago. Well, she's actually from Bloomington, but representing the Chicago area of the Census Bureau. While Article 1, Section 2 says we will count the peoples, we will count them every 10 years, and we got to start now. We met with her on different strategies that we can do. This is going to be something different from, I think, years gone by, because this is going to be the first year that the census can be answered online. The census can be answered through a phone, via phone lines, as far as phone calls. After that, then the census forms will be mailed to the addresses that they have in their database, which we have come up with 100% addressing, thanks to Julie in our Public Works Department. And if they don't have an address or a response from that mailing, then they're going to go door to door. It's going to be very important that we get the count correct. The count gives us our representatives in both the state as a matching to our federal government. It gives us revenue shares that we get back in here through either certified shares or through our schools. There are several items that come back to us on the count of our people. Of course, the Community Crossings Matching Grant Fund is one of those that is a double-edged sword and may hurt us if we exceed the 10,000 mark. We're going to use this as a point of education for the census, and we're going to log this and move forward. I want everyone to take an opportunity, if they get to it, read as much as they can about the census and know how important it is to the community. That's the update. Dustin, did you have anything to add to that?
No. It's important. Some people may not think it's important, but it really, really is important. It has to go into Even little things, I know it's maybe a hot button topic right now, but voting, our districts and stuff like that, the congressional districts, that's all based off of Cincinnati. So, you know, we're gonna hopefully not be knocking on too many doors with this new system. Moving ahead.
Moving ahead. Next time on the agenda, Carlisle Street barrier. Several, maybe a year or so ago, Mark Mathis was approached by the school and started working on a barrier at our tennis courts along Carlisle Street. Tennis courts have been there since I can remember, but traffic or driving habits have changed with the public. They wanted to place something there to kind of protect the people that were watching and participating in tennis matches. Moving forward, we did have a local retired business owner that offered to donate the block to build a wall-type barrier there. Dave Moore from Public Works met with Randy Taylor, and Dave had concerns with both drainage and the infrastructure that's below it and changing it. I think Dave and Randy came up with the idea of possibly doing some type of a barrier that would be of wood construction. What was it Randy called it? A Brown County style barrier. The council would have, for lack of a better term, skin in the game by first off authorizing, because it will be within our right of way, that there can be a barrier placed there. And then also Dave so wonderfully offered manpower in working with them. We've done this several times with the school. I think it shows that as a community, we take pride in our school. We take pride in assisting our school. Dave, looking at his calendar, was a little bit concerned as far as when to do it, and I think you had determined that you wanted to do it before they did the paving on Carlisle Street. Is that correct?
It's possible to do it before paving, yeah, to minimize any damage to new asphalt, if any.
And then you'd also mentioned, and I'm trying to remember, that you wanted to reshape that drainage swell through there.
Correct.
Make it more.
It has silted in over the years, so we can scoop it out. More positive flow.
Are there any questions or comments? Mark, I know, when was it that they approached you 2 years ago and they kind of drove their feet back and forth?
Yes.
I think they were really excited about the wall, but it's not going to work out that way. So I guess what we need to do as a council is we need to give Dave the thumbs up and also the school the thumbs up to build that just at or off of our drainage right of way.
Dave, how much time do you think you're gonna have in that, do you know?
I think if they go with the timber frame style fence or barrier, we would have a week constructing and scooping up.
And you did tell me that Randy had offered some manpower.
Yeah, school offered to provide some of their maintenance staff to assist with the construction.
Comments or questions?
Well, I think that it probably something needs to be done there, because it is a dangerous spot for folks to sit and watch people play tennis in it. And as you said, they were there, then they were behind the school when they built new ones, and they tore those out and they went back to the old ones. And I think that, as you said, traffic patterns as such, it would be a good idea to have something done. So I would, our skin in the game then is just, we're doing the labor.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I was interpreting it.
Correct.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Then so I'll make the motion that we proceed with the project.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
sewer rehab contract. I have notes. Those were written by our Department of Public Works Director. Paraphrase is the contract to rehabilitate the 15-inch reinforced concrete pipe that is known as the West Side Sewer Interceptor. The project is 3,855 feet. Low bid on that project of the 5 received was Granite Inliner, and it was $210,005. I apologize, I thought I had this marked here. This is an acceptable use of the food and beverage fund. Currently with the obligations that we have out of our food and beverage fund, we still have approximately $1.287 million. This was an acceptable use by our past town councils. Ordinance 8, 1990, that said we could rehabilitate our sanitary sewer infrastructures.
Dave, have you checked with, to see, I'm not familiar with that vendor. Have you checked?
Yeah, they provided a list of communities that they've done projects for in the past. Very well reputable contractors.
Okay. Well, I think it needs something we obviously need to get done, so once again, I'll make the motion that we approve the bid at $210,005 to the vendor that David has selected.
And I will second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Can we read that with the out of food and beverage?
Of course, yeah, that was understood, but yeah, that's fine.
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
That inliner was the low bid on that. Salary ordinance amendment. This was provided to us at our request. What ordinance would be up to now? It would be ordinance number 2, 2019. This is an ordinance amending our ordinance 6, 2018, fixing the compensation for elected officials, board of commissions, members, and employees. And this is only amending the animal control officer. We had dropped that down in the past. Mark had done an outstanding job, but instead of starting someone out of what he'd been here doing for, however long were you doing this, 57 years? We had dropped that down to, shall be within the range of $15,000 to $20,000 per year, payable bi-weekly. I need a motion to approve ordinance 2, 2019, amending our salary.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2, amending the salary ordinance.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I really thought Mark was going to tweak that to say animal control.
I never do that to you. David's not here. So.
Oh, well, you know, I just... Whew.
Next item on the agenda is the rezone.
Hi, John.
It is a,
Hello there.
it is a public hearing.
While I'm here and while Ross is on vacation, I'd like to propose a salary amendment myself.
Okay.
Could I do that here tonight?
Oh, sure you can. We'll approve it. I don't know that it'll ever come to fruition, but we'll certainly give it a shot.
Thank you. I'm John Larison, with Holloway Engineering. I'm here with George, Clara, and Richard Allison. The Allison families lived and run their automotive repair business at the intersection of County Line Road and Ferguson Road for 30 plus years. And tonight we're here requesting a rezone of the vacant portion of the lands, approximately 31.5 acres, from ag to I-1. We believe that the rezone to I-1 would be an appropriate match for the recent and historical uses that the Allison family has used their lands for, and would certainly follow the general trend of development in the area. I drove the area earlier today, and I just want to recap the wide variety of uses in the area. Large church, new car dealership, a 15-acre undeveloped parcel just south and west of the car dealership. There is a clinical psychologist, a real estate office, a used car dealership, a steel erectors business, a pet hospital and grooming, another used car dealership, a company called Heartland Solutions Corp., which appeared to me to be a communications based company with outdoor storage of cables and scaffolding and such. Indy Scale, the I-70 truck repair and towing business, a commercial lot that was formerly the Chagin restaurant, the Doctor Who business, and also a medium-sized self-storage facility across the street. And I included a rezoning exhibit that shows the proximity of all of those businesses to our site. And I just want to re-emphasize that we believe that this zoning change from ag to I-1 follows the general trend of development, both commercial and industrial, in the area. I also included a current zoning status exhibit for you. You can see we've got R3, a couple of I-1s, the existing Allison businesses are zoned I-1. We've got B2, B1, PUDC, and PUDI in the area. We do also have some adjoining residential areas. There are some older homes, probably mid-50s to mid-60s homes lining North Ferguson Road and also on the north side of North County Line Road. But we believe that the obvious trend in the area is toward the commercial and the industrial. I'd also like to point out that Mooresville's comprehensive plan recommends this property for commercial development. Actually, on both sides of Ferguson Road on the north end and all along the south side of County Line Road in Morgan County. If you have any questions.
Question, the property that is right at the north west corner, where the actual for cell phone is, are we carving that lot out and not?
That is not part of the rezone. That is zoned agricultural, and it's actually connected to part of that parcel that the house east of it sits on.
Okay.
Our rezoned parcel starts approximately 200 feet south of the intersection.
We do currently service that with the sanitary sewer.
There is a sanitary sewer running through the parcel.
Is it running through that parcel? I don't know how far it is off of County Line Road.
On your rezoning exhibit, you can see the heavy line around the outside that says site.
Mm-hmm.
Just below that is the red line that separates lot 1 from lot 2 in the first minor plat. That sanitary sewer runs east and west all the way across the parcel along that line.
Along that line right there.
Yes.
Okay. Vaguely familiar with that. That was off-site, oversized, when that was done to service that area, correct?
It was.
Sandy had said that she had placed a sign-up sheet. Was there anyone here to speak on behalf or opposed to this rezoning? Jessica,
Yeah, that was my question as well.
It was voted unanimously that we move forward with changing it to the I-1. So there weren't any real
Any
concerns.
remonstrance?
Huh?
Any remonstrance with Plan Commission?
No.
There were a few remonstrances, mostly just interested in seeing what the project entailed.
Okay.
Homeowners to the west.
Okay. Unanimous vote, Jessica?
Yeah, it was. There was one homeowner that came in, and she was concerned about it getting changed, but other than that,
Okay.
and that was to the west. Has there been any thought on egress in and out of the property?
All of the properties have ingress and egress. The two in the back, which are actually part of the second minor plat, are currently serviced only by a 25-foot wide access and utility easement.
Okay.
And that really is just for legal purposes only, because eventually this property is going to be marketed and without a doubt replatted to suit the first buyers and second buyers' needs and the owner's marketing plan. The current layout of the lots, it's highly unlikely that it would be sold exactly like that, so we do anticipate further replats.
But everything would be off of Ferguson Road.
It will be, yes. There is, again, there is, and I've got a plat over this to show you. There is a 25-foot wide access and utility easement on the east side of the entire plat
Here.
there. And if that was ever used for access to any of these properties, it would definitely only be lot 3 in the second replat. That's a very small 7 to 8/10 of an acre parcel. It's going to be a very, very small, physically small building and parking lot that will fit on that location.
But if I wanted to buy that, I could buy that and drive past Tom's bedroom window and home door every night.
That's exactly right. That's what he has a need for.
It's no brainer to me.
Again, though, we really anticipate that changing in time when the actual buyers come along. We anticipate, but cannot promise tonight, that access easement would probably go away, and all of the access would be off Ferguson Road.
I think that's a bridge we have to cross when we get there, so.
Well, I think that goes back to the site plan and planning commission will have to make some decisions there.
I believe most businesses would probably demand that from the owner as well, so the market would probably decide that.
Any more questions or comments? Do we have an ordinance for this? Did you bring an ordinance? Did you bring an ordinance?
I have those, and I will bring them back shortly. I do have those ready for presentation.
Did he just call me short?
Yes.
Yes, thanks, Mike. The rezone would be ordinance 3, 2019, although he doesn't have it with him, he'll bring it back this evening?
Yes.
Okay. I would need a motion to approve ordinance 3, 2019.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 3, 2019.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other business. Nil.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of two businesses that you see on your agenda. Last Move LLC, which is a property owner involved, and Pro Coating Service. Last year in Flagstaff, we had a fire on Hansel Parkway, a powder pro coater, and pretty substantial fire. You see the SB1s in front of you this evening for introduction. On the real property, we had a loss of about, as I recall, about $860,000 in the fire, with a new addition of about another $630,000. This would be about $1.5 million real property value project, which will net about $635 new on that, as you can see, because of the rehab of the fire, the damage. And then also $418,000, as I recall, more or less on personal property. So what we're asking this evening is that you would accept these and schedule those so we can begin the process for tax abatement for the declaratory and confirmatory resolutions in public hearing.
They were, the business, it was well known, it was a great company that was doing work for a lot of the companies that are already here.
Yep.
That's what we always look forward to, is when we plan the company, we'd like to see the feeder companies come along with us, and they have done an outstanding job. I think they kind of left a spot in the industry when they did have the tragic fire.
Very reputable business, and I would like to point out for council as well, this would be a situation where we need a waiver of non-compliance. Basically, the timing of the project and the reconstruction, as much as we were on to the owners about, hey, you gotta get your applications in beforehand, the timing on the reconstruction was such that got away from them, and they were apologetic and hoped that the town would consider the fact that they needed to get going quickly because of the business loss. Yeah, that would be part of that process, be a waiver of non-compliance.
I wanted to make sure that Michael brought that up so everybody understood that.
Yep. It's a process that the state statute allows. Typically, the statute says the abatements have to be provided before the construction of the acquisition and implementation of personal property begins. But under those unusual circumstances, they allow you this waiver to meet the requirement.
Both real and personal.
Yes, sir.
And we have done this in the past.
Yep.
Obviously, it's
And
not
I
my
don't
favorite
think-
thing to do, but
Yep.
in this particular case, it's very unintrusive. It's not intrusive the way this was done.
It wasn't, and I don't believe there will be a requirement on the personal property. It hasn't been installed and being used yet. It's just the building construction started prior to the abatement. So I'll clarify that through the clerk treasurer, but I believe there's only a non-compliance waiver required on the real property. Thank you.
Do we consensus to move forward?
I'll make that motion that we do.
Made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Move forward.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, now we got the next one up.
Sorry?
You have somebody else, or is this all?
Oh, no, it was just those two on, one was real and one was personal.
Okay, gotcha.
The real property is noted as Last Move LLC. That's the holding company that owns the property. Then,
Got
of
it.
course, Powder Pro is the tenant and owner of the personal property. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Dustin, you said you had something.
Excuse me, the 30-degree to 80-degree weather is playing havoc with my throat right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been toying in my head with the idea and have not publicly said very much about it on respect to the businesses involved. I tried to think about a project that would benefit the entire community, the town, maybe even the county. It actually came from my home life. My wife and I are expecting our second child. Before I say anything about the name, I am not asking permission to move forward with the project as a whole. I'll get to that later on. Safe Haven Baby Box. A lot of people shaking their head, yeah, they've heard about it. There's probably less than 15 in the entire state. For those that don't know, it's a device. It is a box that is a incubator. Under the statute, a mother can safely surrender a healthy newborn in one of these incubators. Within 30 seconds, an alarm is sounded, and 3 to 5 minutes, first responders respond and take the newborn to a hospital. We are greatly situated for this project because, to my knowledge, we hold Morgan County's only birthing hospital. So, and to tie it in more, our state rep, Peggy Mayfield, helped author the law that allows mothers to safely, the company's hashtag is Just Save One, but another one they've been using is No Shame, No Blame, No Names. So the box itself, there are stipulations. It does kind of get complicated, especially in a town as ours. We don't have multiple fire stations. We don't have multiple locations. We don't meet the requirements or the protocols for this device. So while a great project, I am challenging myself, and I can say this because I'm not up for re-election right now. Little joke here. But, to privately fund this, most of it. I still think that there are costs later on associated with it. There are very little costs. Recertification, making sure that the alarms are functional, things like that. But I think it's a good project. I didn't want to get over my skis. It's, like I said, a project I'm very passionate about. I'm asking for 2 items from the council. 1, permission and support to proceed and go to businesses with this idea. Fairly easy, but I want businesses to know that, you know, if they say, absolutely, we're on board, and I come back and say, here it is, that we don't run into a roadblock. Not that I think that we would, but I want to do it proper. 2, Safe Haven, there are certain stipulations. 1 being that they would like to meet with the town council president, myself, and a member of the clerk treasurer's office, just to go over the multiple page document to make sure that our responders and we clearly understand what to do, how it's going to be implemented. There are, trainings and stuff like that. And then hopefully later on, if I am successful, not putting this big weight on my shoulders, that the community gets this accomplished mostly through private funding, that we can hold press conferences and dedications and things like that. So 2 items, just support and permission to go to the businesses, and 2, to form basically a ad hoc committee at the request of Safe Haven. They'd like to meet with us. No promises have been made by any businesses, nor Safe Haven themselves. I have contacted them, just trying to get kind of some information. They're a little secretive on the device itself. It does heat, it does cool, all that fun stuff, but I just want to get the ball rolling. I want to get it rolling fast. So with that, I will turn it over for any vague questions that I can vaguely answer.
The question I get, I guess, and it's like everything else, how much is it?
The box itself, that includes a page-long list of line items. Just boiled down is about 10 grand. Estimates for construction and tying into the alarm system are coming back around. I'm going to be generous at 5, because that's what most of them are. I know some companies have come and said, you know, love to maybe do a little less, but I've talked to other places. Decatur, Indiana has one, Terre Haute, and they all said that 5 is kind of the round number everybody gets to. So it's about 15 grand total for the project, plus $200 a year recertification fee. They do have to have a representative check it out, make sure it's functioning correctly.
Okay. I'll make the motion to let Dustin proceed. The only thing that, a little bit on your second request, I would think that you would want a fire and police representative at that meeting.
I was going off what they requested. I'm happy to make that adjustment to them.
I'm just saying that would make more sense. No disrespect to you or Tom, but I'd like to have somebody there that actually knows something.
Well, I appreciate that, Mark.
Can I tweak that a little bit?
Just the word something to
you know what I'm
everything.
getting at though a little bit, because they said they're going to go through some of the rules and regs and that kind of thing, and I think those guys would be the people that I'd want a fire and police rep there at least, so they could kind of see if it all works for them. But I think the project's fabulous. I mean, that's.
I didn't want to get over my skis. I get really excited about. This seems like a small thing to me. It's a big thing, and I know that they have kind of stipulations. And you can go online and research it all you want, but I'm kind of bound by what they kind of stipulate. But I'm happy to say we're forming basically an ad hoc committee to come meet with us.
Yeah, perfect. I'll make the motion that we let Dustin get on his skis and go.
Woohoo.
I'll second.
Well, go ahead and ask your question. I got support now. Whatever you want, I'm just going to say.
Well, his question might change Jessica and I's mind, though, you know.
You sure you got 3 minutes? I know you got 2, but are you following that? Dustin kind of gave me a heads up just before the meeting, and I want to say this. I think it's an outstanding project also. I think it's the first time that I'm ever going to say this, and probably the only. I hope it is $15,000 that we spend and we never use. It is very important to the communities, and I commend you for getting ahead of the game. I think the last news conference that I saw, there was maybe 9 with 3 more scheduled. So, like you said, 15 or less.
Yeah, I can. They have a bunch of statistics on their website. I know that since I think it's they've basically created this law throughout the United States, a little under 3,500 infants have been safely surrendered. There have been, I want to say, I couldn't pull it up on my phone real quick, 1,300 or so that that were not safely, I'll just leave it at that, surrendered. Still, the one story I was reading was a infant was left in a cardboard box and froze to death. This is stuff that we're trying to prevent. So,
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
aye.
Move forward, please. Thank you very much. Anything else from the council? Legal counsel? Did you have an opportunity to look over this? Did you look over this? Are there any reports from department heads? Any?
Once, twice? I didn't mean to throw that at you. I promise.
Good evening. Monthly statistics, March 2019. Incident reports, we had 246. Arrest reports, 53. Citations, 132. Warnings, 266. CAT calls, 2,314. We had 22 accidents, 17 property damage, 3 personal injury, 2 hit and runs. Officers turned in 56.5 hours in overtime, 24 hours of comp time, and 20,693 miles. Officers attends the training for IDACs, K-9, mandatory in service, and also the SWAT officers. We had 418 911 calls for the month. Any questions?
I have none, thanks.
Nothing. Be safe. Thank you.
The other department heads? You did bring in the ordinance, the copy of the ordinance. Mel did have just an opportunity to read over it. He is satisfied it is a normal ironclad ordinance. So I am going to go ahead and sign it. Is that acceptable? We've already approved it. And this is for the council president. This is ordinance number 3, 2019. Are there any public comments? I need a motion.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this about the baby thing, or have we moved on?
You can comment about anything you want to, even if you just want to vent some frustration about timelines.
No. We adopted our youngest child. And had they had something like this, she probably would have been put in a box. She was born in a home. Mother did not know that she was pregnant. And so there's such joy bringing these kids up that I would say, all we can say is great.
Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes we need things brought home to us to appreciate them more, and I appreciate you sharing this with us.
They didn't have boxes back then, so I just thought this was a fantastic idea.
Well, you want to give all that credit to Jessica and Mark. No.
Well, as long as Anthony wrote it down, I'm perfectly fine.
No, I was going to say something, but I didn't want to interrupt. And I didn't know when was the best time.
You did fine, dude.
Yep.
You're good.
Are there any other public comments? I need a motion to approve the payment of claims.
Make a motion that we approve claims in the amount of $348,031.50.
50 cents.
Always that 50 cents.
And 50 cents. Really could have shorted somewhere. Motion been made by Dustin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Early voting starts 22nd, 27th here in Mooresville. Vote early, vote often. Our next meeting will be May 7th, Election Day. It will be here at 6:30 in the evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
I got some work to do. I will make said motion.
Motion been made by a second.
Second.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
It's a good project.
Thank you. I like it. You just like it because we're not spending everybody's money.
I do like volunteerism too. If we could be of any help, you let us know.
I just want to make sure that Dawn could put Tom in there.
It is small, right? I mean, those things are.
If you need anything from us, you let us know.
I was afraid somebody might take it the wrong way, so I didn't say it. I really didn't say that.
Hang on real quick.
I was going to say, is Mark and Tom going to run down to Martinsville for the forum? Probably still make it if they start with the Martinsville guys.
Well, why in the world would you have a thing like that when you have a town council?
I don't know.
No, sorry. That didn't make any sense.
I agree.